Aloha! Guess who's on Maui? Look at my beautiful view today. I'm here at our house, Ho'omana, Spa Maui on the island of Maui. And I'm here for a couple days working on some business with my sister. But I don't ever want to not show up for these missions because they are so important to me. And mostly because I've made a commitment to share my story in raw, vulnerable, and sometimes embarrassingly real ways so that you will know that you're not alone and that your story matters. And I'm so sorry I couldn't go live today because the internet here isn't working for some reason. It's been raining a lot and sometimes that happens. But one thing about having rain is that we have amazing rainbows. And I took some photos, and later on today I'll be posting about the anatomy of a rainbow and the different kinds of rainbows and what they mean, because I got a whole education on that today. So today I wanted to continue talking about finding love again. And the three things that seem to come up in the comments and when people react to me are the ideas of guilt, shame, and building walls so that you don't get hurt again. So since nobody was able to join on live, I would love it if anything resonates with you, if you could just put a little like or a heart button to let me know, because I read all of these comments and I really want to share with you from my experience just in case it will be helpful to you. So the thing about guilt, I think one of the blessings that I had when Tim died is that we had already had a conversation about finding love again, and he really expressed his deep desire that he wanted me to find someone else. And at the time, I was like, no, that's never going to happen. I could never love anybody else. I mean, I was just so enraptured in our relationship, and I couldn't even imagine what that might look like. But I think it was really a blessing for me that he gave me that opportunity when it came by. Except, I want you to know that there's a show, it's called Long Island Medium, that I started watching maybe a few months after Tim died, and I had never really been interested in any of that kind of stuff. In fact, because I grew up in a really religious household, I was afraid of like tarot card readings or mediums, and actually I haven't done any of that stuff personally anyways to this date, but I will tell you that watching that show answered so many questions that I had. And I can tell you without exception, whenever someone was hearing a message from their loved one, the person who had passed on was always wishing for their life to be full of love, to, let go of things that had happened in the past. They wanted to know that, the people who were still alive are forgiven for whatever grievances might have had when that person was in the physical body. And so I will tell you that one thing that I really believe, and a truth that helped me through all that, is that, and maybe it's because of the teachings of the Bible that talk about, there is a time where there's no more tears and where every question will be answered. So when I think of wherever Tim is now, I imagine him in that place where he feels completely at one with God, with pure, perfect love, with no more headaches, no more physical pain, no more questions about what's going to happen to us after he's gone. Because in the place where he is, they already know what happens after this life, and they're not afraid, and they're filled with complete peace. So when I think about people who have left, what I really believe is we're the only ones who keep crying. We're the only ones who are sad because we miss them, and we don't understand how to live in a world where you wouldn't miss someone. But I think that Tim is in a place where he knows he's always with us, and he sees everything, and he knows exactly what's going on in our lives. He's just with us in a different way that I don't understand yet, and that's why I have so much sadness and pain. But I don't have to feel guilty about living and loving in this life because I'm still here, and I'm convinced that I still have a lot of living and loving to do, and that's what honors his memory, is that I carry forward all the lessons that I learned while we were loving each other and living together, and everything that I've learned after, because he's no longer with me. So I I have the opportunity to pay it forward by expressing those lessons into every relationship that I have moving forward. So that's kind of my answer about the guilt question. And then about the shame question, I will say that after I was divorced, there was a lot of shame in having to deal with the fact that a relationship that I had invested myself in was over. So it's one thing when you lose your partner to death, because you can say it didn't have anything to do with me, it was just over. Whereas when it's divorce, you really need to look inside and say, what were the things that I did to contribute to this? What do I need to learn? What do I need to carry forward? And before I got divorced, I didn't even believe in divorce. I just thought that is not something in my vocabulary. That's not something that I live with. And now I was forced to understand what that might look like. And so I will say that was really, really hard for me as I even considered dating again, which I didn't for like more than a year after that relationship ended. And I can tell you that the story that I was telling myself is I don't have anyone that I can explain the story to. My story is too confusing. It's too convoluted. It's just too sad. You know, how do you only stay married to someone for a few months? Is this like, you know, the Kardashians on TV or something like that? And then I was really wrapped up in raising my family, because when you're a single mom, you know, you're working and then you have kids stuff and sports and all this other stuff. And so the story that I was telling myself is I don't even have time to meet someone, even if I wanted to. And if I did meet someone, just explaining the story would be too hard. And so, you know, those are just some of the things that I was telling myself. But I can also tell you, and I probably should make a different video so that I can get a longer version of this out to you to kind of explain the story arc. But I will say how it landed was that I did meet someone in a random, unexpected place. Like literally at that time when I was telling myself a story about how I don't have time to meet anyone, I ended up meeting someone on an airplane from here to Thailand. And they lived across the country. There was no reason we should have met. And ultimately, like nothing lasting ever happened from it. But that was the thing that helped me to change the story of I don't have time to meet anyone and this can never happen to if God wants me to meet someone, I will. And I don't have to worry about making it happen. I don't have to worry about manufacturing some kind of opportunity. God will bring him to me at just the right time and in just the right way. So I think I will make another video so I can give you all the ins and outs of that. But that's the thing that I would say about the shame, is that you can just let go of that and know that at just the right time, the next person or event will come into your life so that you can learn your lesson. And in this case, it was just a repeat of the lesson that God has it all figured out and I don't have to worry about it. So the last thing, someone had left a comment about building walls. And I will tell you that it is literally in our DNA to run away from things that hurt us. I mean, as a species, that's what has kept us alive, is avoiding pain and avoiding hurt. And if you decide to build those walls around your heart to make sure that no one gets in and ever hurts you again, it will work. But you will be very lonely, because those walls keep love out too. Those walls keep help out. Those walls keep friendship and intimacy away. And what you'll find yourself in is in a place where you aren't getting hurt by anyone else, but that's only because you're all alone. And that's no place to be at all. So as much as I might like to run away and hide and keep myself in a safe little bubble, I make a conscious choice every day to keep my heart open so that I can experience joy, so that I can experience love and adventure and trust and all the beautiful things that come from being alive in this world and in relationships with other people in this world. Because we were not created to be alone. So I feel like there might even be a part 3 and part 4 and part 5 coming out of this series on finding love again. But those are the 3 things that I wanted to share with you today. And if there's anything that I've said today that could help a friend, I would love it if you would share this video and send it out to anyone who may need to hear these stories so that they'll know that whatever they're feeling, they're not alone. I'm always here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Pacific time to share my stories. And as always, I would love to hear from you. So if it's in the comments below or by private message or by email, you can reach me at hello@jannabressenden.com. And I will see you next time. Aloha.